Welcome back to another FPL Trans Tips video, this time out of Blank Gameweek 26. There's still 2 games left in Double Gameweek 25, including all 4 teams that are doubling, but I'm going to cover 10 players today to buy, hold, sell and skip. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below if you agree with the classifications and if there are any other players that you're wondering what my opinions of them are. And I'm also looking ahead to Blank Gameweek 29 with some of these transfer plans and transfer suggestions. So, like I say, be sure to let me know, not just in the comment section, but also on Twitter and Instagram. The links are in the description below, the Discord server, join the FPL League, and be sure to check out Draft Town. Without further ado, let's jump straight into this video. First up is Hwang Hee-chan, who's been transferred in by over 58,000 managers, and for me, he is a buy. He is a great option for Blank Gameweek 26 against Sheffield United, and there is a chance that he features in Blank Gameweek 29 against Bournemouth at home, but it is quite unlikely at this stage. It requires 2 results in the FA Cup, Bournemouth to be knocked out by Leicester, and also for Wolves to be knocked out by Brighton, and it is possible, but if you look at it on paper, you need 2 results to happen in the 5th round of that competition. But as a differential for this week, 3.6% ownership, 10 goals, 3 assists. He's potentially on penalties, and with Cunha being injured, Hwang Hee-chan will play down the middle. He missed a sitter against Tottenham Hotspur after Vicario made a save. Hwang Hee-chan had an open goal, but he did fumble it. I still think he's a good finisher though, and he should do very well over the next 4 fixtures. He's got over 100 FPL points, 12 big chances. With everything else on top of it now, with Cunha being injured, I think Hwang Hee-chan is a buy. Next up is another differential, but someone who features in both Blank Gameweek 26 and 29. There are no repercussions, no stipulations. Aston Villa will feature against Nottingham Forest at home this week and West Ham away in Gameweek 29, which at this moment in time looks like a great fixture. Leon Bailey is priced at 5.6 million. His ownership is 3.5%, identical to Hwang's. He's got 7 goals and 7 assists for the campaign, but the underlying numbers are nowhere near as impressive as Hwang's. But an XGI of 7.75 is decent, particularly for a midfielder at this price point, and he's got 95 FPL points for this season. He's been starting consistently, 10 starts in the last 12 games, and despite the underlying numbers not being that great, I still think Bailey is the most attacking option you can buy from the Aston Villa midfield. Douglas Luiz is more of a bonus points machine. He's on penalties, and I recommended him last week in preparation for Blank Gameweek 26, but Bailey is a nice alternative that's a bit more exciting, and he's got much better positions on the pitch compared to a Douglas Luiz. So Leon Bailey for me is a buy, but if I had to pick between him and Douglas Luiz, I'd probably still opt for the Brazilian due to his minutes, being on penalties, and also the bonus points potential that he possesses. It's as if Tony never left and he wasn't suspended for 9 months, because he's returned with a bang with 4 goals and 1 assist. He's going up in price to 8.2 million. His ownership is just under 10%, and he could well be my transfer in this week. Since I'm doing a bit of a switcheroo up front, which hasn't paid off so far, I think Tony's a great way of covering Blank Gameweek 26 and 29, where he faces Burnley away. He's a great captaincy option in that game week. And even in Gameweek 26, his opponent West Ham, he's got a great record against them. 2 goals and 2 assists in 3 matches against the Hammers. And Brentford are a bit of a bogey team for West Ham, who are really struggling in this calendar year. So I think Tony could be a sensational buy this week. And if I had to pick between him and Solanke for this week specifically, I'm going for Tony all day long. The only thing is that Solanke faces Burnley away in 27 and doubles in Gameweek 28, but Tony is a great long-term option now, potentially until the end of the season. He's had 8 big chances, 32 FPL points, 18 shots, so he's averaging almost 4 shots per match and 2 shots on target per game. So for me, Ivan Toney is a very easy buy, and check out my team selection video because Ivan Toney could well feature and be one of my transfers in. We're now onto the hold section, and I talked about skipping Heung-min Son last week because a lot of people were buying him after he returned against Brighton. He came off the bench, got an assist for that late winner, and people were buying him when he had a blank in Gameweek 26, and it made no sense. Son even blanked in Gameweek 25. Spurs lost the game, so it was quite surprising, but Heung-min Son for me is a hold if you do have him, and he becomes a buy in Gameweek 27. He's another one who features in Blank Gameweek 29 against Fulham away, and he's another captaincy contender. I'm looking to buy him in Gameweek 27, so I think if you have him, you hold. If you don't have Son, don't buy him, of course, this week, but some people are, trust me. Wait until Gameweek 27 when he faces Crystal Palace at home, who've got a new manager now, so maybe there's a bit of a manager bounce, but I still think Heung-min Son is worth holding on to for the long term. He's got some some good fixtures to boot. Of course, he's blanking in 26. That's a big shame, but it's still worth holding on to him and benching him this week. He's priced at 9.6 million. His ownership is 16%. He's got some great figures, 12 goals and 6 assists. The underlying numbers are good, but he always overperforms them because he's a great finisher, and he's also quite a good source of creativity for that Tottenham team. He's got 142 FPL points, and if it wasn't for Saka being incredible recently, Son would firmly be second in terms of FPL points scored amongst midfielders, only behind Salah, and I think will be close between Saka and Son for FPL points overall until the end of the season. I'll back Saka as I have done for many months, even when he wasn't looking particularly great, but Heung-min Son is firmly a top 3 midfielder in the game, and from Gameweek 27 to 30, I think Son is the very best option, period, not just in the midfield, but in every other position as well. Many people are selling Alvarez this week, and he did very well against Bournemouth in this fixture last season. I definitely wouldn't sell him this week, but maybe in Gameweek 27 or Gameweek 28, that could be the time to sell the Argentine, because Man City's fixtures are quite poor between Gameweek 27 to 30, and they're very likely to blank in 29. So that fixture against Brighton is very unlikely to take place, but Alvarez has some great underlying numbers. He's got 8 goals and 8 assists for the season. His ownership is still 25.9%, and he's also quite a good value for money at 6.7 million, 56 key passes, 118 FPL points, and also decent shot volume with 70 shots overall, an XG figure of almost 9, and 30 shots on target. There's a lot to like with Julian Alvarez, but I think he's a hold for Gameweek 26 and potentially a sell in Gameweek 27. He is not yet flagged in FPL, but Diogo Jota could potentially be out for 2 months, according to sources like Paul Joyce. He's going to miss the Carabao Cup final. He's going to miss that second game in double game week 25, which is a huge shame. I had him. It was a dream start to the double game week with Darwin and Jota combining, but then Jota got injured shortly afterwards. Darwin Núñez was subbed off at half-time, and Liverpool have so many injury issues at this moment in time. But Jota, it's unfortunate because I was actually going to talk about potentially keeping him for Nottingham Forest away. He's got a great record against them. I've discussed this in recent videos, but unfortunately he blanks in 26. He's unlikely to feature in any of the games you see on screen up until Game Week 30, and Liverpool are very unlikely to feature in Game Week 29 anyway against Everton. But let's see what happens in the FA Cup 5th round. Of course, Jota doesn't have great underlying numbers, but he is clinical, one of the most clinical forwards in the league, and that's why he's got 9 goals and 6 assists, and he's only 3 points shy of 100 FPL points overall. So unfortunately, Jota is a sell. He could be out for months. Let's see what the official diagnosis is by Liverpool, but it's not looking good, and Jota unfortunately is a sell. While Darwin Núñez isn't going to be a serious injury concern like Diogo Jota, and if he does miss out any game, it's probably that second match in double game week 25. You could even keep him for Nottingham Forest away. He should definitely be available by then. You could make a case for keeping Darwin Núñez, but when you've got Solanke, who faces Burnley away in 27, he features in Game Week 26, albeit against Man City, and in Game Week 28, he has a double, one of the best doubles you're ever going to see on paper. Not only that, you've got Ivan Toney, who features in Game Week 26 and 29, and he's got great fixtures from Game Week 32 until the end of the season. Erling Haaland goes without saying. You've also got Højlund in great form with features in blank Game Week 26. I do think Darwin Núñez is a sell because we've got so many alternatives in the forward position who can do a great job on a consistent basis. But Darwin Núñez scored an amazing goal against Brentford. He's got 9 goals and 9 assists for the season. Also 28 big chances, over 100 FPL points, some amazing underlying numbers. But I think with Liverpool players, most of them are a sell at this point. Diogo Jota because of the injury, Darwin Núñez because of the alternatives up front, and Salah is going to become a great option once again from Game Week 27 onwards. But you could make a case for going without any Liverpool player until Game Week 30 once their fixtures turn and there are no more blanks for the Reds. The final sell of this video is Pervis Estupiñán. He has been so frustrating in recent weeks, and Brighton kept that clean sheet against Sheffield United, but Estupiñán came off the bench for a 1-pointer. And once I saw him on the bench, I just knew Brighton are going to keep a clean sheet and the frustrations are only going to build. He has been an awful FPL asset recently. He had a really good start since his return. He got that goal against Tottenham off the bench. Then he started a few games consistently, got bonus points against Wolves, but it just hasn't materialised ever since. He got subbed off at halftime against Luton Town, and that was a game changer because ever since, Estupiñán has been woeful to say the least. Now, what I would say with Estupiñán, especially if you're struggling to field a full 11 this week, keep him for for Everton at home. So for Game Week 26, Estupiñán is a hold, but Estupiñán becomes a sell from Game Week 27 onwards, where you probably have enough defenders to field and you can easily get a full 11. And from that point onwards, I think Estupiñán, just get rid of him. Very unlikely to feature in Game Week 29 against Man City. The next 3 games look really good, and I do back Estupiñán to start against Everton at home, and that's why hold Estupiñán for Game Week 26, sell him afterwards because his minutes are always going to be a concern in the long term, and we've got a lot of good alternative defenders right now. Diogo Dalot, Gabriel, Saliba, and there are many more, so be sure to check out the best free hit team video, which I've uploaded recently, and the upcoming best wildcard team video. You might be thinking, yeah, Dylan, well done. It's very obvious to skip a player who's blanking this week, but he's the second most transferred in player this week, Mohamed Salah, only behind Rasmus Højlund. And people, yes, you're buying in for Game Week 27 and beyond, that's all well and good, but Salah's very likely to blank in 2 of the next 4 game weeks coming up. So in Game Week 26 right now, and in Game Week 29, when Liverpool are supposed to face Everton away. And just before that, you've got Nottingham Forest away, fair enough. I'm going to be hiding behind my sofa when Liverpool play that game. But then Man City at home, yeah, Salah could score a goal, but that's still quite a tough game to call between Liverpool and Man City, potentially a title decider. So for me, Mohamed Salah is a skip until Game Week 30. You could make a case for buying him in Game Week 27. I'm not completely against that, but I don't think it's worth buying Salah in right now. It makes no sense whatsoever. It's a bit more difficult for those that already own Salah. You could keep him this week, start against Nottingham Forest, and then sell in Game Week 28 or in Game Week 29, then wildcard out of that situation in Game Week 30 and buy back Salah. And one of my plans, if I delay my wildcard until Game Week 31, is to do a move like Saka to Salah when Arsenal play Man City in Game Week 30. But Salah for me is a skip right now. He's got amazing underlying numbers. 15 goals and 9 assists, by the way, is ridiculous considering he has been out for some time. His XGI is over 20. He's got 167 FPL points, and his ownership is only going to soar through the weeks. But I do think it's probably best to go without Salah or any Liverpool player until Game Week 30 after Blank Gameweek 29 has fully finished. The 10th and final player covered today is John McGinn, and you might also be asking, well, why is Bailey and Douglas Luiz a buy, but McGinn isn't? The FPL points are very similar between all 3 of them, in fact, but McGinn did play a deeper role against Fulham in Kamara's absence, and it's not a one-off thing. Kamara is set to miss out the entire season due to an ACL problem. That's a massive blow to Aston Villa, and it means John McGinn is very likely to play a deeper role, whilst Douglas Luiz occasionally ventures forwards, and he's also on penalties. You've also got Bailey playing on the wing, and whilst he's a bit less nailed than McGinn and also Douglas Luiz, he has the most attacking potential due to the positions he takes up, at least from open play, of course. And the thing with Douglas Luiz is he gets a lot of bonus points, and if you look at FPL points overall, it's very close between McGinn, Douglas Luiz and Bailey, but I would skip McGinn because I think he'll play deeper from now until the end of the season. And it's worth noting that his underlying numbers are decent. His XGI is 8.13, but only 6 goals and 2 assists for the campaign. His ownership is really tempting and encouraging. I don't think McGinn is a bad option. He covers Game Week 26 and 29, and he could produce a return in one of those blank game weeks when you need him, and then you can bench him against Luton, Tottenham potentially, and from Game Week 30 onwards against the likes of Wolves. But I just think there are better Aston Villa assets to invest in. Watkins goes without saying. Pau Torres at the back is the safest option. Martinez in goal, and in the midfield, Douglas Luiz would be first, then I look at Bailey. McGinn would be my third option, but I think there are better alternatives there from the villains, and that's why I think John McGinn is a skip. So there we have it, 10 players to buy, hold, sell and skip, all covered in today's video. Heading into Blank Gameweek 26, and I also talk about Blank Gameweek 29, which is very important to bear in mind, especially if you're looking to navigate that game week without using the free hit. On screen you can see the most transferred out players, Diogo Jota and Pedro Porro. I have both of them, so find out what I'm going to do with those 2 players in my team selection video. And there's a lot of transfer activity that's going to happen over the next couple of days. Remember, there is going to be more European action in the Champions League. The likes of Arsenal will play. We've got 2 double Game Week 25 fixtures left. All 4 teams that double are going to feature today, on a Tuesday and tomorrow, so make sure to delay your transfers for as long as possible. And in terms of navigating Blank Gameweek 29 with a potential fixture or 2 also being added to the biggest Blank Gameweek of the season, it's worth waiting sometimes with these transfers, and we will find out all the teams that are blanking in Blank Gameweek 29 by the time we get to Gameweek 27 and Gameweek 28. But thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, or found useful, then be sure to smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. Let's try to get this video to over 200 likes. Let's keep on pushing towards 23k subscribers and beyond. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM, and check all the links in the description below for the Patreon, Championships Discord server, the FPL League, and Draft Town. All of that is there. There's going to be a reaction stream later today, and also much more FPL content headed your way, like the team selection. And if this video gets to over 200 likes, there's also going to be a chip strategy released just before Blank Gameweek 26. I wish you all the best of luck for the upcoming deadline and the rest of the season, and I'll see you next time.